This year.
Groundbreaking on the 28th. I'll be in the mountains.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone. I would like to call this meeting of the Pittsboro Board of Commissioners for February 9th, 2026 to order. And we will start with a moment of silence, if you'll join me. Thank you. Mr. Farrell, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
For everyone pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have the agenda. We have the consent agenda and the regular agenda in front of us. Are there any changes to the, or additions to the consent or regular agenda? Let's see.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Commissioner Thurber, second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Foley. Is there a second?
Second.
Hunziker, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have two information items this evening, the Town of Pittsboro financials and the Boys and Girls Club winter update. Are there any questions on either of those items? All right. Up next, we have Citizens Matters, and we'll start with the manager's update.
Wait, update at this time?
Up next is my update. We have a Central Pines Rural Planning Organization meeting this Thursday coming up. So we have a little break for the holidays. We got one coming up this Thursday that I'll attend. Other than that, just appreciate all of our staff and all the community with all the support. As the monks came through, for one thing, which was a pretty incredible thing to happen for Pittsboro, and then in all of Chatham County and everywhere really. But and then also all of staff's work through the multiple winter storms and things that we had to get things cleared out and open back up. Not something we normally do, and staff reacted really well to it. So appreciate that. Commissioner Hunziker?
So I did attend the last AHAC meeting, and in that meeting, we discussed basically where AHAC has been, where it is now, and where it is going in the future. And since 2018, Pittsboro has received about $1.5 million in housing trust investment, supporting more than 260 housing units through preservation, affordable rentals, and homeownership opportunities. One of the big parts of the conversation that I took away was who affordable housing actually serves. And in Chatham County, I'm surprised to realize that the AMI is in the mid-70s range. And that is our teachers, our county workers, our town workers, healthcare, and even myself falls in that range. And it's just so important to realize who benefits from us making affordable housing a priority. And while we were talking about $70,000 being the AMI, we're also looking at the average home price in Pittsboro and across Chatham County exceeds more than $500,000 and is increasing. And there's a growing disconnect between the wages and the housing costs as development continues. And I just think it's important for everybody who lives in Pittsboro and the developers who are developing in Pittsboro to understand that providing middle workforce housing, especially inside downtown, is essential to creating a healthy, viable town center. And, that middle workforce housing supports local businesses, reduces long commutes, and helps maintain a really good, thriving downtown. And then finally, and one of the most important things is that AHAC passed a resolution formally commending John Foley for his longstanding commitment to affordable housing since 2017. And I wish I could run down the list of all the things that he has contributed, but we will have a very, very long meeting. But personally, I want to thank him for his mentorship with affordable housing, and thank you so much. I'm learning so much from you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good job.
Commissioner Farrell?
Just one thing, the ABC board met, sales from last year were up even in our, #1 station in town, even though we have a second store open. We do have one position open on the, ABC board. I believe it had been filled, so, we should be taking applications for that. I believe, it's on the website for applications.
Commissioner Foley?
Moving from the Chatham County Affordable Housing Advisory Committee was hard to do. I will be sticking with Commissioner Hunziker for at least 6 months to make sure she's up to speed. She is entirely effective. As an ex officio now on the Economic Development Corporation in Chatham County, it's my responsibility to ensure that, or help ensure that, we are a viable county when it comes to economics. We have 2 large big ticket items. We have Will Speed and Belfast, but I'd love to concentrate on infill when it comes to economic development. That is perhaps companies that would feed into Will Speed and Belfast to more corporations that come to Pittsboro means less tax burdens on our residents, and so that's that I'll be concentrating on future. We had a meeting, it was called a chat and chew at the Hops and Barry in Mosaic, and it was very informative, and I'm looking forward to contributing however I can. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Thurber?
Yes. Hi, I attended the Pittsboro Downtown Advisory Board meeting last Tuesday, and they were discussing the potential budget. I strongly support the proposed full-time downtown administrative and events coordinator position that they are asking for. That would shift the administrative, marketing, and event responsibilities off of the downtown development director and allow them to focus on business recruitment and retention, streamlining permitting for small businesses, data-driven downtown performance, housing and transportation coordination, and long-term planning for downtown success. And I'll also be attending the Chatham Chamber of Commerce's annual meeting on Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. Commissioner Bonitz?
Yes, thank you. Mayor, my apologies for my tardiness. So the Chatham County Climate Advisory Committee meeting was on January 22nd. And the committee debriefed the County Board of Commissioners' response to the climate action plan that had been delivered by the committee to the Board of Commissioners. There followed much discussion of a proposed new data center near Chatham County's southern border. This is in Lee County, and I don't know if anybody has heard about this, but when I personally read the press release, I didn't think very much of it. Apparently, with further action and events, this probably does warrant some attention. It's called the Deep River Data Center proposal. The plan is to use the Butler Well number 3, which was it's a 27-year-old test well that was drilled for natural gas in 1997 to extract natural gas to run generators to power the data center. And the county commissioners are planning to hold hearings on a possible moratorium on this data center, or excuse me, on data centers in general within Chatham County. And the Climate Change Advisory Committee will be meeting or be submitting written concerns for such data centers to the county commissioners at their February 11th meeting. And I will pass along those written concerns to this board. But just on the face of it, I will share my concerns now. These are very large new data consumers, energy consumers, with, by my perception, limited benefits to the local economy. Mayor Shipp, I recognize you have significant professional experience with these facilities, and so I'm eager for the conversation to unfold and for us to learn more together. At a glance, permanent jobs could be anywhere from 15 to 50 people for, a 100-acre site or something like that. The tax revenue is questionable because of North Carolina General Statute 105-164.13, subsection 55. Local governments will see very little tax benefit from these data centers. The dirt and the bricks, not the equipment or the energy consumed. So local government benefit is limited. Backup power for these sites, and in this case, in the Lee County proposal, has in the past been highly polluting natural gas-fired generators, which produce noise at levels that harm human health and the environment. So I just wanted to make sure that this was elevated to the attention of the public and this board. And we'll keep watching it and keep learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is public comment. So I'll read your name. Please state your name and address at the start of your comments. There's a time limit of 3 minutes, which will be displayed on the screen. In the interest of time and fairness, it's the board's policy not to respond directly to comments during this period. Staff will follow up as appropriate. Any speaker with handouts should give them to the town clerk, and they'll be distributed to the board at the conclusion of the meeting. So up first, we have Ethan Tyser, followed by Alan Catt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak at this board. I've been on orders.
Can you say your name and address?
Yes, sir. Ethan Tyser. My address is 80 Haven Creek Road, apartment 170, Pittsboro. I've been working on the east side of the state for the past 2 weeks with these winter storms that have been coming through. And when I went to church yesterday, I realized that there is a flock camera pointed directly down the only street to that building. And come to find out that anytime I leave my apartment or go to church, my vehicle is being recorded and monitored. And that is a egregious violation of my Fourth Amendment rights. And I would like to see these cameras taken down immediately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next is Alan Catt, followed by Jan Berger.
Good evening, y'all. My name's Alan Catt. I live at 180 Woolly Worm Drive, Pittsboro, North Carolina. I've been a resident of Chatham County for about 10 years now. I'm here to talk to you tonight about ad tech first. Ad tech is the technology that came up when I first got into the search and rescue community. Essentially, the idea was back in the day of the dinosaurs, when everyone started carrying around a cell phone, you send out a ping. If that phone is on and has battery, it would reply back with which tower it was closest to. That gives us a 3-mile radius to look for a human body in. That was great at the time. Then come to 2019. 2019, Google proposes something called ad tech. It's this idea that with smartphones, we have an advertising ID on every single phone. And that advertising ID affiliates all the data coming off of it from things like cookies from websites you visit, apps you have installed on your phone, et cetera, et cetera. That data also comes with your location. So now there's this continuous record of everywhere you've ever been. By 2019, Google's got 50 billion pings of consumer phones in the US. Nowadays, you can imagine that number is much bigger, and it's a continuous record leading back about 7 years. That data is just a continuous location for every phone that has been on that has access to either the internet or 4G LTE. That's a massive Fourth Amendment violation because law enforcement happily uses it to track people around using geofencing and by contacting the various data brokers that provide that information. It's such a big deal that Google is being addressed by the attorney generals of California and Texas to get them to stop using this technology that is incredibly invasive. Now we've brought flock cameras to Chatham County. Now they will assist law enforcement. So from what I understand, Pittsboro PD is very happy to have them here because that allows us to do automatic license plate reading. Essentially, the concept is that all of this video data coming off these cameras gets labeled with the, actual license plate of the vehicle, but it also comes with the color of the car. It comes with how many occupants it has. It comes with what those occupants are wearing. It comes with modifications to the vehicle. Do you have a bike rack on the back of your car? Are you carrying a cargo container on top of your car? This tracks vehicles more than just in and out of neighborhoods, more than just to churches. This also tracks everyone who visits the First Health location outside of the Lowe's Foods. This tracks everyone coming in and out of Mosaic. This tracks everyone going to their churches, going to stores, going to work. Tracks what time you come and go. All of these things are normally things that would require a warrant or a judge's approval for surveillance. And these are all things that are now happening continuously 24/7, so long as we have these cameras on and it's going to a private company. Now, we might not be paying much for these cameras, but that's because we are the product. Flock happily will make money off of selling that data, selling that video feed to consumers, whether they be public entities for law enforcement purposes or private entities for commercial purposes. And frankly, I think it's inappropriate for us to have these sources of data just leaking private information. And I highly suggest a moratorium on the use of them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Jan Berger, followed by Chris Runkin.
And number, I live at 726 Bynum Road in Bynum. And I also am here to talk about flock cameras. I only just learned about them recently and have been reading articles about what flock is doing around the country. And one of my concerns is that the data that we're collecting here can be used by many different entities of which we don't really know or have control over. And ACLU article that I read talked about a woman in Texas who was being tracked in Massachusetts because supposedly she had gone in to have an abortion and it wasn't allowed in Texas. So as an example, something that we may allow here may not be allowed in a different place. We don't really know who's going to be using that data. And it doesn't seem fair. I don't know about the legalities of it, but it doesn't seem fair to the people that live here to be sharing that data with we don't know who, including the national government or any other entities that they may choose to share their data with, as well as the immigration and customs enforcement all around the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Chris Runkin, followed by Caden Watson.
No, I'm sorry. I just thought that was a sign-in sheet. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks for being here. Caden Watson.
Hello, thank you for your time. My name is Caden Watson and I live at 314 Danbury Court here in Pittsboro. I've lived here for 17 years and while I can say that I'm not exactly extremely knowledgeable about the flock cameras, I am under the impression that these are a major violation of the Fourth Amendment and that also, on a side note, they hardly provide any economic value to our town. So I would just like to ask if we could reconsider having these in our town and, or at the very least, have the data be shared publicly. So thank you.
All right. Up next, we have the miscellaneous section, which this evening is a presentation, presentation from TriRiver Water. So, you up for that?
I'll start us off.
All right.
You on the board or just print out? No problem. Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Nick Fortune. I'm the Director of Business Management for TriRiver Water. With me here this evening is Jason Bertensino. He's the Director of Engineering for TriRiver Water, and Cameron Kleinert, he's our Public Information Officer. Paul Weeks is also supposed to be here, but he had some family matters. So if there's any questions that we can't answer, we're going to blame it on Paul, and Paul will be back to y'all. He's back. So this is the first meeting that I think we've really been to as TriRiver, trying to give an update to town of Pittsboro. Just we've been merged for a year and a half now, so we're just trying to give an overall TriRiver picture from a regional standpoint. That's what I'll do, and then Jason will have a little more in-depth, more information on specific projects related to Pittsboro that we've been working on as well. So to get started a little bit, you know, the merger before the merger actually happens, it's, you know, us talking to employees, us looking at numbers on a piece of paper, but, you know, that's a little different than when we actually start to operate and converse with employees and those things happen. So over a year and a half, we feel like we've gotten a pretty good idea and comfort with the Pittsboro system. So we feel like we're in a pretty good spot with what we've seen operationally and kind of where we're headed moving forward. So we've unified some business efforts is what we're calling it. We'll just call those our day-to-day things that we've done over the past year and a half. Your planning department works with our utility planning. They coincide as far as, you know, what the utilities approval are with your development that's kind of going on. Those meetings take place on a regular basis. We have a monthly communications meeting that Cameron puts on for other PIOs in the area, between Siler City, Chatham County, even the Sanford area. We kind of get together. He has a list of items that he discusses, just kind of what's going on in the TriRiver community, and then try to get some feedback on what the public information officers hear from local municipalities as well. Anything that TriRiver needs to address. Customer service location we created last year down here, down the street in the Food Line shopping center. I feel like it's a good touch point for the customers. They can come in, pay their bills, ask questions. It's quite a good turnout that we get through that location. We created a purchasing position through TriRiver when we took over with, when we merged with Chatham County and Siler City, just to try to leverage some of the purchasing power. That's one of the regionalization benefits, try to utilize some of that, try to make sure that we use our inventory system that we have, that we're starting to put in place, try to utilize some of that purchasing power to buy inventory, manage a warehouse, those types of things. Those are some of the day-to-day things that we've been working on over the year and a half that we've been trying to make more refined each day that kind of goes on. And then we have what we're calling our transformational alignment, where we're trying to think big picture, right? You know, we're a large regional utility now that we've merged together. You know, believe it or not, water is not infinite. So how do we plan for 2050, 2070, right? How do we make sure that we have a water supply? How do we make sure that we're treating water down the road, treating the wastewater down the road? So those master plans on how these different interconnection projects take place, and how they, you know, make sure that 20 years, 50 years down the road that we're taking care of our customers and our communities and serving them well. So those are some of the bigger ticket items, future planning that we have that we've been working on as well. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Jason. He'll talk about some of the specific projects that we've been working on as well. And I'll also say, if you have questions, feel free to converse, kind of an open dialogue back and forth, you know, put us on the spot. We'll for it. And like I said, we'll blame it on Paul if we don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. As Nick said, my name is Jason Bertensino. I'm the Director of Engineering for TriRiver. So kind of group these projects into a couple different categories. I'm sure you have them in your agenda packet. So as Nick said, we've merged now for about a year and a half. Me personally, I've merged for about 5 months now at TriRiver, so still relatively new, still learning quite a bit about the system. I would say that extends beyond just myself. We still continue to learn things throughout the system. As for instance, we learned
last week that our Siler City wastewater treatment plant is on a road that is neither maintained by NCDOT or the town of Siler City. So we sort of had to figure out, scramble how to get our folks there to keep things operational. But that's, to be expected in these mergers. And, so it certainly makes going to work each and every day entertaining and, actually somewhat fulfilling. You get to feel like you've done something at the end of the day. So with that, talk a little bit more about the projects. Nick mentioned a little bit. The big project that everybody sees just about every day, if you head down 15501, is the Pittsboro to Sanford pump station and wastewater force main project. Project is underway. It's under schedule. We have all the pipe on site. Starting, most of it's fused together now. They're going to start working on the bores and burying pipe. We're going to start disappearing on the side of the road, hopefully here pretty soon, and is on track for a summer 2027 completion. That will certainly add a lot of sanitary sewer capacity to the bulk of Pittsboro from that standpoint. We sort of had a self-imposed moratorium on any things that were tributary to the current plant because we didn't want to get into a situation with the state. We now feel like we're at the point, we're far enough along on the project, we're date certain enough, if you will, on the completion that we've started signing permits again for projects that are tributary to the Pittsboro wastewater treatment plant. So really happy about that. That's been a milestone for us. We're continuing to work on the Moncure to Pittsboro water main connection. It also has a booster pump station along the way in the Mount View Church Road area along Pittsboro Moncure Road. The project's getting close to 90% designed, and we're getting ready to start real estate acquisition on the project. So we don't have an exact timeline on the construction, but at the moment, there's no reason why we're slowing down. Once we can get all of the rights of way and easements in place, our intention is to keep moving forward with that project to bring us quite a bit more water capacity into the town of Pittsboro. And frankly, some resiliency, which I think is, again, a little bit of a theme. We have an issue at the Pittsboro water treatment plant. We'll be able to bring water from Sanford from there. Actually, I guess I should say that facility will have the capability to send water both ways. So we have future additional capacity here. Again, same thing. We're just trying to build resiliency throughout our system for our customers. So to that end, the Sanford Water Treatment Plant project is also underway and also a summer of 2027 completion date to go to 30 million gallons of treatment capacity. Despite the weather, we're still a little bit ahead of schedule and on track. The biggest thing about that keeps me up at night is we're expanding our water intake in the river. And so let's not have any hurricanes this year. But other than that, no, everything is going well. Really pleased with that project. As Nick mentioned, he and I are spending a lot of time with through the Central Pines COG, Triangle Future Water Partnership, and we're talking about really the entire Cape Fear River Basin. I guess I would say sort of south of Greensboro, all the way down through the system through Harnett County. As well as, again, it's the Triangle Water Partnership. So the new basin conversation is in there as well for the folks that sort of live on that side of the world. Really, it's just planning about raw water resources and making sure that we're looking, way out in the future. 2070 sort of is the current horizon date, because any solution as it relates to wall water and sort of the appropriate studies and permitting, you just can't start soon enough to have all that work done. So what we don't want to do is get out there to 2040 and say, hey, we got a 30-year solution and really feel like we're against the clock. So it's really all these communities that come together: TriRiver, Owasso, Durham, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, Raleigh, Harnett County, Hillsborough, Orange County. Again, just everybody there together, sort of sitting at the table together and communicating about what's next for all of us collectively.
Again, was the date you were talking about for the water connection via VinFast? Completion date?
Don't have a specific completion date on that, as it goes, but again, we have no plans to slow the project down. We're almost done design and we're headed into, real estate acquisition. So once we have a little bit better handle on the easement acquisition timeframe, then we'll have a more published, construction date.
Okay. I've heard estimates anywhere from 5 years to 7 years.
I think I'm gonna speak totally out of turn. It would definitely be at the sooner part of that than the latter part of that. Existing other projects sort of here, in Pittsboro. I'm sure all of you have had some commentary and things there. We continue to work on the existing wastewater treatment plant, in Pittsboro. I've not been as directly involved in all these projects. There is a lot of studies going on. There's a lot of what I would call modernization as it relates to how we deal with chemical usage and flocculation and removals of solids and things of that nature. It is definitely a work in progress. We're even learning some things like don't turn the sludge over when you have an air inversion in the air. I think the last big thing we really felt like it was just one of those sort of fluke type weather events where kind of the heating and cooling inverted and yep, we spread some not the best odor around town there on that day. So again, just sort of learning how to adapt and how that plant reacts even again to sort of certain atmospheric conditions. All things that we're working on really, really actively here.
I'll just say on that, I've heard complaints about that odor there. So, is that related to the weather conditions, you think, or is there other like operational things you guys are doing to work on the odor at the wastewater?
I think it's a little bit of both. So there's, every so often you have to sort of, you remove the sludge, it goes to an offsite handling facility and whatnot. There are days when it's much worse to do that than other days. And I think the last time that this happened and recently, it's been what, a couple
Weeks.
months, yeah, about a month ago or so or whatever. We just picked a really bad day to do it. From sort of, again, the atmospheric conditions and whatever. So we're trying to see if we can predict what causes that and try to avoid those types of events.
Thank you.
Again, sort of specific to Pittsboro, this was what I'll call legacy project from the town. Downtown Find It, Fix It project. We are finally under construction. I think that project languished a little bit with the consultant on sort of getting its footing. We now have the contractor mobilized. We're doing a lot of lining of manholes and sewer lines in downtown. I think we're very hopeful to reduce infiltration issues in the sanitary sewer system, and that's certainly going to help the plant. We're seeing some rainy day peak flows of 9 times the normal flow amounts in some of the areas in downtown. So again, I think we're very hopeful that we can solve a lot of those issues, and that should help everything operate much smoother as well. So that's a good project. Glad to finally have the contractor mobilized and those things going. We actually used that contractor for an emergency repair in our mind across the aerial crossing there, Robeson Creek, right down here on Sanford Road. And got that replaced. We actually were able to remove one of the piers, so we got a little bit wider span across the creek when we did that. So hopefully that not only is less impactful to the stream itself, but also helps kind of keep things cleaned out a little bit better. So there were some trees growing over top of it. The line had a massive deflection from tree roots. It had trees laying across it. So again, we became very concerned that could become an immediate issue. And again, we had the contractor mobilized. We were able to jump on that and get that knocked out and work very well, we believe. We continue to deal with some pressure fluctuations. We went and met at the annual meeting for the Chatham Park HOA there at the cottages section. It's in the that lowest section along Thompson Street in Chatham Park is in the town's lower pressure zone. The bulk of Chatham Park's in a higher pressure zone. There's a pressure reducing valve in that area, and that area sort of became isolated. And what we finally figured out is it was trapping air at that valve, and that's what was reducing those conditions. So we've put a temporary air release on that pressure reducing valve to sort of solve that. We view that as a temporary fix. Our long-term fix, we're working on the permitting now. We're actually going to move that pressure reducing valve down closer to Thompson Street. It's a less of a rise. So we believe there's going to be less of an issue with trapping air. And we have been able to verify with everyone out there that they all have in-home pressure reducing valves. So not concerned about causing issues in the home itself if we make that switch. So we think that's sort of a long-term fix over there. I don't know, just one of those things that happens you don't necessarily anticipate, but again, it was sort of a quirky situation that was occurring there that took a little time to figure out. I think we finally got there. And then the last thing really specific to downtown is all you'll know, the DOT's got the Hillsborough Streetscape project. There's a lot going on with our system in that project. And one of the things that we're going to do as a betterment is that the meters there at the businesses just immediately north of the traffic circle sit like literally right up against the building. They're really not serviceable. So as part of that, DOT is going to pull them slightly off the building. So again, we have a little bit more access to them, a little bit more convenient in case there's any issues downtown. I believe that's really it on the construction front. Nick and I are both here and happy to answer any questions that we can, or as he said, if we don't know the answer, we'll blame Paul Weeks.
So I have a couple for you, Jason. Specifically, what you just mentioned, we'll start there. How do you communicate with the residents if you're going to change their water meter position? What's the communication process? Is that something?
So I don't think they'll notice it. I mean, again, we're talking inches. It's really in the exact same spot. It's just not underneath the wall. It's sitting right in front of it. But specific to that, obviously, throughout that project, DOT will be there. It's totally their project. They're responsible for it. They'll be doing any communication as that goes.
You spoke earlier about there's some studies about the wastewater treatment plant here and how you might be going chemical. Can you describe what that is? And are you planning then to increase the capacity of the Pittsboro treatment plant because of it?
We are not planning on. Yeah, we are not planning on increasing the treatment capacity at the Pittsboro plant at this time. Would never say that it's entirely off the table. There's limited space out there. It's not likely we're going to do much expansion. I do think with this downtown I&I project, where we're reducing infiltration, the reality of it is periodically we're able to reconcile the flows to the plant. So we will realize some additional capacity at that plant through that process, but it'll take a little bit of time for that to happen. I don't want to overstate the chemical thing. I think it's really just sort of trying to operate it more efficiently than how we use. We're trying to dose less. It's much less of a issue, I think I would say, here in Pittsburgh than, again, Siler City. Again, I think there's just a lot of things that were managed the old ways because they always did it. And we're trying to unlearn some behaviors and bring some very highly skilled technical folks, consultants in to help really modernize just operations.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Can you talk a little bit about our granular activated charcoal process and what you intend to do with it? Are you going to expand that? Treatment of Pittsboro water was we focused on it. And of course, with our filtration process, the PFAS levels have dropped considerably. And some of the feedback I get from our constituents centers around that. So what is TriRiver going to do? Can you talk about that? What your plans are?
Yeah, so that is not a project that I've been specifically involved with. Scott Christensen, who's over all of our water treatment facilities, has been more directly, and I'm happy to provide you more sort of specific data relative to it. Everything that I understand is that we feel that the GAC project has been successful. I think they've even done some recharging of the existing systems here recently. We are incorporating it into our new treatment facility as well in Sanford. And then frankly, even all of our new facilities, whether it's water treatment or wastewater treatment, and there's emerging contaminants continues to be a very active topic. And so there is an element of we're trying to make sure that we're reserving the ability from a just a spatial standpoint to be able to adapt to those things as they come along. So certainly PFAS is the newest one. Well, I shouldn't say newest one. It has been around for a while, but it is the one that we're most active in trying to upgrade all of our systems to.
This may not be the right opportunity to speak regarding this, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Right now, the governing body of the town of Sanford is the legislative body making decisions, correct? Or,
I think that's correct, yes.
yeah. That is a political body, and I would love to see something like the way OWASA is set up, where we have representatives from each town that you service, putting input and making decisions, sharing decision process. Are there plans on changing that? Are you phasing out the town's administrative decision-making process? What's the long-term plan for that?
That's a loaded question. That's significantly beyond my pay grade.
That's what I thought.
I will say that from staff's perspective, we absolutely try to operate in that manner moving forward. And again, I think that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight. And certainly we have plans next month to be in Siler City. Similarly, and we're starting to meet on a regular basis with like, for instance, Mr. Franklin. And last week we were here in town with Mr. Thompson from Chatham County. So from staff's perspective, we absolutely view it that way. And I think what we're trying to do is communicate as openly as we can. Again, that's why we're here tonight from that perspective, but that's kind of all we control at the moment.
Thank you for your answer.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jason, just a couple, what's going on with the Jordan Lake partnership?
So the Jordan Lake partnership, that Triangle Water partnership has sort of taken over from what was the previous Jordan Lake partnership. So I mean, that's really that planning organization that everything's going on there. I don't know if you have a more specific.
Talking about Western Intake or the Triangle Water Partnership?
It's down, we were under the Jordan Lake partnership.
The Western intake.
Yeah.
Okay, so intake is a specific project that's sort of a subset of that planning. That project is being led by Durham. There was a plan at one point in time that Durham was going to be building a water treatment plant near the lake, near where the Western intake would be, and that would be shared. I do believe that Pittsboro had a small stake in it. Chatham County, the Chatham County system had a very large stake in it. Durham has made the decision, they told us a couple of weeks ago, to move that treatment facility to Durham. They're going to co-locate it, I believe, next to one of their reclamation facilities. So the Western intake itself, the withdrawal from Jordan Lake will occur essentially in the same location. We absolutely are going to remain a partner in the raw water intake. We're just trying to figure out whether it's more economical to try to treat water in our facilities or a facility of our own, or pipe water back from Durham once it's treated there. So that's really a development that has occurred. In addition to worrying about today's problems, that's one of those things that gets thrown at us that we have to figure out for on down the road.
I'm trying to understand the odor a little bit better. So with the facility being so far from downtown, why do we smell it so bad in the downtown area?
The Pittsboro wastewater treatment facility is in the downtown.
Okay.
It's just behind sort of the county building there on Robeson Creek. So it's very close to downtown.
Okay.
It's not the Chatham Park facility that's the odor issues. It's the
Right.
downtown facility.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
I'd like to follow up on Commissioner Thurber's question because I think that there are some lingering odor issues that are distinct from the operation of the small street sewer plant. There's a spot on what used to be 15501 Hillsborough Street, north of town. So it's far from Small Street, where it's very common that I'll drive through and smell sewer gas. It also, it does seem unusual that in the spot where Commissioner Thurber's business is found, which is upstream and uphill from the Small Street plant, it does seem unusual that there would be sewer smell there. So also, I mean, we could probably look at it on a map, but I've never thought of Small Street as a part of downtown. It's kind of out of the way, but yeah, how would we address this on an ongoing basis? Is there a way to monitor it, or is there a way that we can explore it further?
Yeah, no, all fair questions. I'm not familiar with the 15501 issue that you, and happy to explore that further. I know in this most recent event that we had, I believe there were some odors as far away as the Thompson Street, lower areas of Chatham Park that were from the downtown plant. So it was pretty widespread. Again, I think it is a lot due to atmospheric conditions. And again, we have consultants very actively studying what we can do to improve conditions at that plant. We don't have any conclusions yet. And I know that's not the best answer to your question, other than to say we're very aware of it and we are very much working on it.
Okay.
We hope to be making changes in the next few months.
I'm certainly not an engineer, but my understanding just from observation in the world that there are situations where sewer gas can form inside the pipes as it's being transmitted to the sewer plant. Is that true?
Certainly, it can. If you have some things, you see it more typically in force mains where, pressurized sewer pipes coming from pump stations, where you get a little bit more sort of volatility in the system, if you will. You have high points that can trap pockets of air. You can have them in gravity systems as well. Typically, as long as it's moving through and sort of gets on down the line, so to speak, in a relatively short period of time, that condition doesn't exist. But if you have some pockets where it's able to stagnate and sit, that can happen. Sure.
Okay. And I guess it might also possibly be caused by an undetected leak that surfaces.
Yeah, I mean, there's any number of things out there. I mean, again, it's hard to just say that there's one answer to any of those solutions.
Okay.
I think if we can be made aware of any specific areas, Alvin Davis, who many of you may know, leads that crew with us. I mean, you can certainly reach out to me, but he's our man in the field, and his crews and those guys work really hard. They'll be on it and they'll try to track those things down. But please, absolutely make us aware. We want to hear about it.
Well, you're smelling it inside of businesses. Where is that coming from?
You're smelling it inside of a business.
There's several businesses.
Unless it's coming from, again, unless you also smell it outside of the business and it's sort of atmospheric, sounds to me that it's more of a plumbing issue. Because you should have a wet track preventing that from occurring as you would, in your home. All of those types of things should not occur. I'm not saying that they don't, and sometimes the older plumbing systems even maybe don't accommodate. So again, I think if it's something specific that you can send to us, we're happy to take a look at it and assess. We camera private lines all the time in those types of things. I shouldn't say all the time, but sometimes, you know, we go a little bit further than our system to help try to figure things out. So absolutely, if you can let us know, we'd be happy to take a look.
Well, if I may, let me take you up on that offer. You mentioned Thompson Street getting that smell, and you kind of mentioned it like with that last occurrence with the atmospheric issues. My business is on Thompson Street, right across from Chatham Park, and the smell can be so bad that it disrupts business. We're a healthcare business, and it's so bad that in the middle of December, November, when it's freezing, we'll be opening doors, trying to ventilate, and it's coming and it's outside just as bad as it is inside. So I think, I don't know if the find it, fix it, like John had, like Commissioner Bonitz had mentioned, is part of looking for that odor. But I think there's something definitely going on around Thompson Street, because the odor is a weekly issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Please send us a message. Let us pinpoint the location a little bit. If we can hear about them, we can check them out.
Thank you. And I have some further questions that are more positive notes.
Before we get off that, so would the best way for anybody to report those things just call like the main customer service line for TriRiver, or?
Yeah, they will probably send you to engineering. And so from the main customer service line's fine. They'll transfer you back to engineering. There's also a main engineering line at TriRiver. You can talk to one of our folks there, and they'll get it directed to one of the engineers. Take a look at.
Will there be an easy way for customers or people in Pittsboro to maybe just go on the website and find that, report an odor or an issue, so that they're not trying to figure out who to get? Because
Over there.
I'm telling you,
Cameron wasn't
I
expecting
hear
to
this
talk.
all.
That's a good one.
So you mentioned, we're actually working on a system that is going to allow folks to be able to do that. We're not quite there yet. There's a lot of different software systems that have to be integrated to talk to one another. You would think nowadays it should be easier than it turns out to be, but we're working on that to where you would be able to actually have an app on your phone and do it from the app on your phone. That's the end goal. We'll put that back on Cameron to finish it out. But yeah, we're in the ninth inning of really kind of getting it to an operational standpoint. But that would be the goal. App on your phone, website, that where you put that information in, different than even having a call, but you put that in, you get a notification. When it's passed along to a different step, you would get notifications throughout the process as well. So getting there, just haven't got there yet.
Excellent, thanks.
So this may be in a similar vein, communications. Mr. Fortune, I don't know if you want to handle it or not, but what can we do to continue expanding awareness of the superior quality of Pittsboro's water? And I'll follow that with what I should have made as a preface. I continue to encounter people who think that we have contaminated water. And this is an equity issue, because people moving to town who might be really scrimping are told there's polluted water and that they need to pay $5,000–$10,000 more in in-house filtration system. I'm understanding that in certain neighborhoods that is promoted by the realtors, which is really unfortunate. Plus, we're losing the efficiency of water when these are reverse osmosis systems, as you know, because they throw away half the water they clean. At one time, we had a very significant base of data from our own testing of the GAC plant, and we had that posted on our website. And I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know what's going on today with the TriRiver website, whether or not I can send people there. But is there a way that we could, first of all, get that back up, continue to publish the test results, and then can we do further efforts like public tours, return to public tours of the plant?
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, I think the reality of, and I'm gonna call on you because you got a lot of those answers, because we are working on a lot of that. The reality of what we have determined
water utilities in general struggled to get that information out, right? So we are in that category. We are actively working on it, whether it's through planning, whatever it is. Cameron answer on the website stuff, because I do believe it's there. I just don't want to overstate. But actually to try to help with that, in your little bag that we brought some goodies. There's what we call an activity book. We've created the activity book that kind of gives a rundown. It's for a broad range for a school system is what it's geared towards. We have started in Lee County. We are going to branch into Chatham County soon, but we've branched into Lee County to reach out to the school system, get in the school system. We feel like the school system is a good way to start, because it starts with the kids, they bring it home, whether that's education from a standpoint of kids to parents, or even recruiting from trying to get, employees to come work for us from that standpoint too. So the activity book is a way that we're trying to reach back out. School systems is one of those things. I think you do have all that stuff still currently on the website that was on the website.
I think we have all that. I'll have to double check on the PFAS stuff. So I know several months ago, there was the discharge of the 1,4-dioxane. And from that, we did start posting those test results monthly. But let me check with Scott Christensen and Corey to double check on the PFAS numbers, because I don't think they're there, but they're not as easy to find as the 1,4 is currently, so I can make it easier.
Sure. Are they routinely checking PFAS numbers?
I know they're routinely checking 1,4. I'm pretty sure they're doing the other one, but like I said, I need to double check on that.
And just for the public's benefit, that was not in the Haw River. That was in the Rocky.
Yeah, well.
Right? Okay. Yeah. We still have a lot of the treatment processes on the website, right? We integrated all that over. That's all there. Once again, going back to the communication struggle, it's, how many people are going to a utility website to look at some of that stuff, right? Like, how do we get people to do that? It's an ongoing challenge that we acknowledge. We are trying to do different things and do that. Educating here is good in this type of forum. We do all kinds of other forums that we're trying to be in front of in order to do that as well. Whether those are the citizen academies that are throughout, Lee County has them, Chatham County, we went to one just a month or so ago. So we're trying to get into different avenues of trying to tell that story, trying to drive that information out there. It just is a challenge to get that out there in a proper way.
Yes. Well, thank you for your ongoing efforts with communication. And once you get the assurance that you do have this data up on the website, I'd be indebted to you to know what page to refer people to, because I routinely encounter these folks, especially online. And it's a very simple matter for me to cut and paste a link for them to go visit your website. And then the other item that I just wanted to share, it's kind of really, I hope that it might be beneficial. Mr. Bertoncino, did I say that correctly?
Did.
The I&I efforts are really, we greatly appreciate that. And I hope that you're aware that they've been ongoing. And it may be helpful for you to understand and visit with staff or look at our records to understand we've been making these investments for 8 years, I think. So, and it was tough at that time. We didn't have the budget for it, but we knew it was serious. That was before we really were serious about the merger. So.
Yeah, no, and that brings up a good point. You're absolutely correct. And we are very close to publishing consulting. Again, this is, I would call it a legacy project started by the town, and asset inventory assessment that was just recently completed, kind of in its final draft form. So we should be able to present that pretty soon. And a lot of those efforts are documented in that as well.
Terrific, yeah. And sorry, we're using acronyms for the public's benefit. That's the infiltration and I&I Inflow and infiltration.
Flow and infiltration, that's
It's
right.
where rain flow gets into the sewer pipes and messes up the efficiency of sewer treatment. So, yeah. Thank you.
So, if you wouldn't mind, can you trace, I'm just really concerned about Pittsboro water right now, okay? So can you trace, how Pittsboro gets their water? Do they get it from our water treatment plants still?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Okay, and, because of that, it's treated if, through the granular activated charcoal process, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Will the water be coming northbound from the water treatment plant in Sanford eventually?
Yes, so our current plant upgrade that includes the granular activated carbon system will be online well before the interconnection will be.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you
Thank you for your time.
Very, very helpful meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay, this evening we have no public hearings and no action items. So next up will be a closed session. I will take a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to N.C.G.S. 143-318-11A3 to consult with the town attorney to give instructions concerning the judicial action of 7 directions of service, Chatham Climate Action Network and Haw River Assembly versus the town of Pittsboro, and A6 to discuss personnel.
Move.
Thank you, Commissioner Bonitz. There's a second.
Second.
Commissioner Foley, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're back in open session. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Commissioner Bonitz, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.